What is going on with you guys, and happy holidays, guys. I really hope you're enjoying your day. Now, I do have a few announcements to make. I think you're gonna love every single one of them. The first thing I want to announce is that I am streaming on Twitch right now. That's right now. I will be editing a live duel that I'm trying to put up this week. It is an amazing live game. Unfortunately, no Sky Strikers, but you still have a way to get a Sky Striker live duel if that's what you want to see. If you guys want to see a Sky Striker live duel, then be sure to destroy that like button. Let's try to get to 1,000 likes, as well as post down below in the comment section, well, that you want to see a Sky Striker duel in the next announcement that I'm gonna make. To celebrate this 2020 year, I have teamed up with Konami to give one lucky person a box of Phantom Rage, a box of Legendary Duelist Rage of Ra, and a 2020 Mega 10. All you have to do is post down below in the comment section as well, what was your favorite product from the 2020 season, and what product are you looking forward to in the 2021 season? My personal favorite is a three-way tie between the Ash Blossom Binder, the Eternity Code set, and the Rise of the Duelist set. I have so much bulk of Eternity Code and Rise of the Duelists, it's not funny. I'm also not the type of guy to actually look way ahead into the future for new product, but I am really excited about the Winged Dragon of Ra sleeves, and I also want that Lava Golem plushie that we're not gonna get. How come we can't get the Lava Golem headrest? I will pay someone to get that Lava Golem headrest. Now, just to be giving you guys a really important detail is that I will be announcing the winner on my Discord, so make sure that you have joined that community, read the rules, became a member, and yeah, good luck to everyone. But to stop looking into the sky and to bring us back in task, I think we're in striking distance of making a really competitive deck that can not only be on the budget, but can actually play better against control decks. I should really feel bad, but I don't. The Sky Striker strategy is an amazing strategy that does everything I just mentioned. It can be a budget deck, and it works really good against some of the better control decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. In this video, I'm going to be giving you not only a deck profile of the Sky Striker deck, I'm also going to be giving you the budget options because I did make a budget video that you should probably check out just in case you want to see some other budget decks. And of course, if you want to see some more of those budget deck profiles, go ahead and destroy that like button as well as this like button, but don't do it twice. I probably should stop rambling though and get into the deck profile, starting off with the starter monsters. We run 3 copies of Sky Striker Ace Ray and 2 copies of Sky Striker Ace Rose. Now, this deck actually has 10 starters, and I figured that with the Sky Striker deck, you probably don't want to open 2 Sky Striker monsters. So we do complement that with 2 copies of Airspace Area 0, 1 copy of Terraforming, 1 Hornet Drones, and 1 Reinforcement of the Army. The reason why we run 10 starter cards as opposed to 11 or 12 with an Ace Rose and an additional field spell is because when I crunch the numbers, it's really important that you only open 1 starter card and the rest of your cards be utility cards as opposed to opening 2 Sky Striker monsters. Now, of course, this is going to be the most important thing for us to get into, as it does allow us to get into our Sky Striker Link monsters, but when playing against a control deck, we're going to need to be able to control those control decks, especially if we're going second. With that being said, we play a ton of hand traps, and let me explain every single one. 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, the best hand trap right now because it gets every applicable deck. 3 copies of Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion. This is easily the second best hand trap. That's right, guys. This is the second best hand trap. Now, I bet you didn't know that Ghost Bell can stop cards like Nadir Servant and Psyframe Gear Gamma. Essentially, I have 9 ways to stop a Psyframe Gear Gamma in its tracks, and that's seen as one of the best and most standard staple hand traps that players are playing. Ghost Bell also has applications because monsters like to apply for Ghost Bell's effect, and Ghost Bell likes to hire them to activate its effect. Get it? Because they applied and they got hired, and now they live in a mansion, a haunted mansion. Next, we are going to be playing 2 copies of Skullmeister. This card is really good. I like that it isn't a hard once per turn like our other hand traps, but the reason why I decided to switch between the 2 is that, you know, Ghost Bell hits more cards. Skullmeister is still really powerful though. And lastly, I played 3 copies of Psyframe Gear Gamma with the Psyframe driver. If you ask me, these are the best hand traps in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now without getting into specifics. Now, of course, if you guys want to see a hand trap video, what are the best hand trap videos, or even what are some cards that you are playing that are losing you games, then maybe you should add that to the list of things you should say in the comments section. But moving forward, we do play one really interesting card in Dino Wrestler Pankratrops. I want to say that this is our flex spot. Now, the thing that I love about Sky Strikers is that it is a really good going second deck, and if you do plan on going second, or you don't care going second, Dino Wrestler Pankratrops could actually help you. But the reason why this card is a flex spot is because you could play a Sky Striker Ace Rose or another copy of Skullmeister, whatever floats your boat, ladies and gentlemen. This deck is pretty adaptive going first and going second. That's pretty much it for that flex spot card. Now we're gonna move on into the engine cards, not necessarily the engine cards, but like the draw cards, the extra resource cards. I think that's the best way to say it. 3 copies of Pot of Desires and 1 copy of Pot of Avarice, then 1 copy of Sky Striker Mecha Modules multi-roll. Some players have argued that Pot of Desires is terrible in this deck. I think that they argue that Pot of Desires is a terrible card, and I think that they have their reasons, but I like to draw 2 cards, and this deck doesn't really care about what it banishes as long as you don't banish 3 of 1 card. And just to put that out there, the odds of you banishing 3 of 1 card with the activation of Pot of Desires is so low, it's almost negligible. Some people want Pot of Greed off the list. Some people already play Pot of Greed inside of their deck. It really depends on which one are you. Moving forward from that, we're going to move into our important cards for the deck. You see how I split it up? We're going to be talking about the cards that are really important for the deck. The reason why this deck is so good against most control decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! 3 copies of Shark Cannon and 3 copies of Sky Striker Mecha Widow Anchor. So some of the best decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Are Zodiac Eldritch, Altergeist, and this actually has applications to every single one of them. Ultra Road and Tritran are also really good decks. Shark Cannon applies to every single one of those matchups. When our opponent wants to add or special summon a monster from the graveyard, not only do you have Ghost Bell Skullmeisters, you also have Shark Cannon in a format where just graveyard reliance is a thing. Also against decks that don't want their monster taken, well, I mean, there's Sky Striker Mecha Widow Anchor. It can negate cards like Zeus, Zodiac, Dryden, of course, True King of All Calamity, as well as a host of other cards. But one thing that players forget is that these cards are recurable within the Sky Striker strategy. Sometimes it's really good to have hand traps in your hand, but if you can keep on reusing those hand traps, then your deck becomes amazing. We run 6 copies of cards that are really good into Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now and that we can keep recurring. This is the reason why this deck has an advantage over a lot of control decks, is because they can keep bringing these cards back. Now, if I were to talk about even more advantage, it does pile on with this deck as we run 2 copies of Afterburner and 1 copy of Jammin' Waves. The reason why these cards are so powerful is because, again, they keep recurring back into your hand through Kagari, and on top of that, you can destroy multiple cards by having multiple spell cards in your graveyard. Now, next, I do play 1 copy of Cosmic Cyclone and 1 copy of Harpy's Feather Duster. I decided to go with 1 and 1 instead of 2 Cosmic Cyclones because against those back row heavy decks, Harpy's Feather Duster is just a free win. But you could play 2 Cosmic Cyclones in the main board inside the Duster depending on your meta. Now, most of this deck has been relatively budget. I think the most expensive card in this deck has been Harpy's Feather Duster, if not Sky Striker Ace Rose. There is an expensive card that I do play, but don't worry, I come with the budget options. In this particular build, I play 2 copies of Lightning Storm and 1 copy of Raigeki. I love that I play a little Thunder to strike the sky with, because Thunder comes from the sky and it's Lightning Storm. Oh, there goes my hopes and dreams. Now, the reason why I play these cards is because going second, there isn't a single board in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now that threatens me. My opponent goes double Calamities. I go, oh, that's cute. I just Lightning Storm their entire board and, continue to set my spell cards, which are trap cards, and then play Yu-Gi-Oh! These cards are amazing for clearing boards, whether it's front row or back row. Another alternative I had was, of course, Forbidden Droplets, which is expensive to no means. But of course, if you guys can't play the Lightning Storms, I do have tons of budget options. For the people that cannot run Lightning Storms and possibly that Raigeki, Mystic Mind is still a really good card. Now, the reason why I don't like Mystic Mind is because of Chuchi and Conquistador and Sanguine. They make this card weak. But other than that, this card's still really good. You can play a Mystic Mind Sky Striker build. And then for the people that just want more board wipes, run Dark Holes and the Raigeki instead. And then there's another card that you guys could play. You can play There Can Be Only Ones. I'm supposed to have a 3rd one here, but I don't have it. This card is also really, really good for stopping your opponent too. So this last 3 cards are a flex spot. It's the Lightning Storm, slash Raigeki situation, you can play any of those cards or pretty much any card that you want to, or even drop 2 cards and play an Upstart Goblin because this is a 42 card deck. Moving forward, I'm going to blaze through these Sky Striker cards, 3 copies of Kagari, 3 copies of Shizuku, 3 copies of Hayate, 1 Kana, and 1 Zeke. That's a pretty standard lineup. You could run an additional Kana from what I'm about to show you. Next is 1 copy of Hita Fire Charmer Ablaze and 1 copy of Earth Charmer Immovable. The reason why we run this is because Ghost Bell is respected as one of the best hand traps in Yu-Gi-Oh! So this does give our opponent a monster card for us to special summon. This card is also really good in the Zodiac matchup as we would awaken their monster, then make Usa, and then get another monster. But the main thing is how we make our access code talker is through one of these cards, plus, of course, a Sky Striker Shark Cannon. I do not play Effect Veiler in this deck. I do not play the Hakla Fibers engine because Effect Veiler is just flat out a bad Yu-Gi-Oh card right now. If it were a good Yu-Gi-Oh card, then of course I'd play that engine. But since it's not great, I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to play bad cards to justify Access Code Talker. And plus, while this card is very easy to make under that situation, it's pretty easy to make under this since we play so many Shark Cannons and Widow Anchors, and, you know, Earth and Fire is pretty prominent. Also, we play 1 copy of Cypher and Lord Omega. But if you guys cannot afford Access Code Talker, remember when I told you to play another Rose? Well, you can still make the Utopia double package. Now, that 40th card, if you decided to drop the Lightning Storms in the Raigeki, could be that double or nothing, and you can just play Utopia and Utopia double, which gives you 1 shot potential still. But that is it for the main board and the extra deck. I am going to blaze through the side deck since there are no combos with this deck. 3 copies of Ice Dragon's Prison. Of course, if you cannot afford Ice Dragon Prison, Solemn Strikes are pretty good. 3 copies of Solemn Judgment, 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone, 1 copy of Cold by the Grave, and 3 copies of Alpha Master of Beasts. If you cannot afford Alphas, then you can play Nibiru's instead. I decided to leave this at 12 instead of 15 because since I gave you so many flex options, you can place any of those flex options as the 15th card. I'd probably play Mystic Mind because, again, it's really good in certain matchups. Well, that is all for the Sky Striker deck profile that we have today. Of course, if you guys want to see Sky Strikers in action, make sure to destroy that like button. Make sure that that like button is blue because I've told you to do that one too many times. And also be sure to post down below in the comment section about everything that we've talked, those videos that you guys want to see, the sets that you guys like the most, as well as join that Discord community. And of course, I am streaming on Twitch. It sounds like it is a lot, ladies and gentlemen, but if you had fun on this video, then it really didn't matter. It's just more homework for you guys because I had to do work on Christmas Eve. Ultimately, I hope you guys are enjoying your day, and I'll catch you guys on the next video, if not on Twitch right now.